What's going on YouTube? I'm Wayne and this is Wayne's Passionate Fish World. I got a comment in my last video where I announced that Wayne's Fish World is an official business, and that video brought so much love to my channel. I had people who are new to my channel, people who've been following me for a little while, and people who's been following my channel since day one, and that love was tremendous. I felt it right here in my heart, guys. That was an absolutely amazing feeling, seeing all those people support my channel and support my way of the future. It was an amazing feeling. For once in YouTube, you don't see trolling in the comment section. That's the only time I've seen it, and it was in my video. That's a great feeling. So guys, I thank you dearly for all of you supporting me, but let's get to the topic of the video. This is part 2 of my first aquarium, and in this video we're going to be talking about water source. This is something that's very commonly overlooked, and I'm guilty of it as well. I overlooked this in the past, and it led to very bad consequences. Either it be freshwater or saltwater, we need to know what type of water we're putting in our aquarium. For example, if we have an African cichlid tank, and African cichlids like hard, high pH water, and we have well water of 6.5 pH, that's not good for African cichlids. Now, there's the argument of so much breeding going on today that the fish can withstand different pH swings and different tank conditions, but bottom line, it's not good for the fish. And take it vice versa. On the other side of the spectrum, you have salt water. You got minerals that are in freshwater that aren't present in salt water. It's just not there. So you have to go about either DI water or having an RODI unit. So the question is, how do we know what's in our tap water? The only way to truly know is start with the basics. You don't have to go and get a water sample and have your city tested. That's not necessary. Now, not all water taps or water sources are the same. So in a rare case, maybe some of you do need to get your water tested. But for the most part, there's something that all of you should have in your stash of supplies, and that's a master test kit. Once again, either saltwater or freshwater, a master test kit is crucial. You can always see the effects of water parameters, but you're never going to see it unfolding until you see those effects. So if you catch it early on with a master test kit, and then with that test kit, you can narrow down the cause and come up with a solution to fix it. Some of the things that we need to look at are everyday things we test for, such as pH, water hardness, nitrates, nitrite, ammonia. Now, a lot of you people on city water are saying, is it really possible to have ammonia, nitrite, nitrate in your well water? Well, if you're in city water or shared water, then your water's pre-treated. But if you're like me on a shallow well or artesian well, your well water is coming from the ground. And there's not much filtration going on unless you have inline filtration in your house. For example, my well water is a shallow well. My pH is 6.5 coming out of the tap. That's amazing for the angelfish that I house in my 125 gallon. But at the other hand, with my saltwater tank, it's not preferable. It's actually the complete opposite of what I want. It's got tons of minerals and the pH is all wrong. So with salt water, I had to invest into a RODI unit, which just stands for reverse osmosis deionized water. A lot of you guys watching are new are probably wondering, what is an RODI unit? RODI stands for reverse osmosis deionized water. That is strictly pure H2O. We're not going to go into the science behind it, but water passes through a couple different chambers, and the end outcome is pure H2O. Your RODI unit is going to give off a wastewater that is more concentrated in the minerals and things that aren't strictly H2O. Reverse osmosis is the diluting of minerals. Osmosis is when minerals saturate and all that good stuff. But we're not going to talk too much science because this is a beginner series. Now, typically in a artesian well that's deep, you're usually going to have a hard water that is preferable for African cichlids and salt water. Mainly, you're not going to have any nitrite, nitrate, and ammonia because your well water's deeper, there's less oxygen, and therefore the natural respiration of the nitrogen cycle will occur to its final stages where nitrate is broken down into a nitrogen gas. Unfortunately, in most shallow wells like me, you're going to end up with zero ammonia, zero nitrite, and nitrates coming straight out of the tap. So when I do water changes on my Planet Aquarium is set up biologically correctly. That way toxins in the water are broken down through the substrate and the plants. When I do a water change, my fish go to the surface and start panting. So while a huge water change is beneficial to the plants, they start pearling and going crazy and start growing automatically, it's harmful to the fish. It puts a shock on them. So preferably I like doing a water change that is minimal. That's why I like doing a 10% weekly. And the truth of the matter is I don't have time for that, so that's preferably what I like. This part in this series is also going to tie into another part of the future videos, figuring how to select your fish. We've already talked about how to select your aquarium, so we narrowed down a selection of what fish we can contain in the aquarium that we picked out. So in part 1 of this video series, we discussed on what factors would come into play on selecting an aquarium. After watching that video, you probably selected an aquarium that you want to go with. This video also ties in with the future video called How to Select Your Fish, because the water parameters that you have in your tap should match the water parameters that are preferable to your fish. Now, that doesn't limit you, because you can buffer the water either higher or lower. You can add minerals. You can start with RODI and do an EI method. You can make your own water that is preferable, but it's going to be much easier on you guys to stick with a fish that likes the water parameters straight out of your tap. Now, I don't know if city water changes drastically, but if you live in the country like me, now when I say the country, I was watching Joey King of DIY, one of his videos, where he went to a local fish store and he was talking about how he had a small town. Ha! That ain't no small town. This is a small town. It's nothing but farm fields. And in the springtime, guess what? Farmers are dumping nutrients. They're dumping fertilizers on the field. Those fertilizers get soaked up by the plants, but the remnants that don't get used up, when it rains, it goes down into the substrate. It goes down into the water table. That water table feeds my faucets. Those faucets feed my aquarium. So I've noticed over the years, different time of the years, my TDS, which stands for total dissolved solids, will actually fluctuate throughout the year. And that's something I can't control. But the fact of the matter is, I can control it. Recently I got fed up and I did a water change on one of my aquariums, and it led to a death of a fish. And I said, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. So I installed a whole house filtration. Once again, I have my RODI unit, but that's preferably used on my saltwater tank. I don't really use that on any freshwater aquariums because I don't find it necessary. So we talked about water parameters, how it can be affected, where it comes from, what to look for. We talked about TDS meters. We talked about RODI units. We talked about how you should select the fish that is most preferable to your water parameters coming out straight out of your tap. And we talked about buying a master test kit. If you guys aren't sure on what fish can coexist with the water parameters that are present in your tap water, I highly suggest you guys go into a local fish store. With no disrespect to PetSmart and Petco, while some stores out there have excellent associates that actually care and understand and actually know a lot about fish, the truth of the matter, it's a rare case. There's a lot of associates out there that will help you and try their best, but you're best off going to a local fish store and going to that guy or lady who knows almost everything about fish. They're going to be the ones that can point you into the right direction. And personally, I believe in supporting local businesses. And once again, if you don't have access to a local fish store, you can definitely drop me a line in this comment section below or hit me up with a message. I'll be glad to help you. In a community, either it be on a forum, a blog, or here on YouTube, you need to surround yourself with other qualified, experienced people. Be careful how you associate yourself and go on forums, because you could have someone on a forum that hasn't been keeping fish for 3 days and he's going to tell you all about how to keep more idols. People out there have the right to voice their opinions, but sometimes they voice it when they're not qualified to answer those questions. So once again, it's best to go to a local fish store and get to the people who actually know, or get into some qualified forums. Get into some groups that have excellent members. Other than that, guys, we talked about everything that we need to know about the water coming out of our faucets. Until next time, I'll see you guys late this month with the next part of this series. Comment, rate, and subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, I've been Passionate Wayne with Wayne's Fish World. I'll see you guys next time. Later.